in the mirror at all today.
It's fine. Looking good, man.
I'm still wearing the same shit I wore out last night. So
Classic. How you doing?
doing well. It's been a crazy past few weeks, to say the least. But it's exciting. So I'm doing great, actually.
Yeah. Well, yeah, first off, appreciate it, Ethan. You being on this. Funny how we met like a year ago through like Flutter, do some influencer stuff together. And then I feel like I've been like following you, and your journey's just been, you've been growing and growing and killing it. It seems like that's awesome. Are you in Miami still?
Yeah, I'm in Miami.
Okay. Because if I remember correctly, you were living in New York, and then you moved to Miami during COVID, and then you just stayed there. Because I actually just moved to New York.
Yeah, that's what happened, actually. Yeah, I moved down here because of the gyms were open and there's no state income tax, so I couldn't complain.
Yeah. I'm from Florida, so
nice.
Very familiar with the pros and cons. And my parents are from the north, so but awesome. So I just to get kind of started, super lightweight, podcast. I want to have you on here, share kind of what you've been up to, and help promote all the interesting stuff you've been doing, and maybe even share advice to other entrepreneurs and creators like yourself. I guess just to get the ball rolling. I'd love to hear more about your background, maybe like how you high level, like how did you get from college, I guess, or being an entrepreneur to where you are today as a creator on TikTok and also an entrepreneur.
I started, I think I was a senior in college, had an idea for a company, built it out, ran that company, raised capital, did the whole thing. It was a success, but like a minor success. It wasn't like a FU money, I don't have to work ever again type of ordeal. So exiting that company, I went to a large tech company where I currently work. I was a computer scientist in college, so I was able to program and build out my entire application for my company. After I moved on from that, I decided to go work for a big tech company. I don't want to say their name right now just because I'm in a lot of hot water with them, or I shouldn't really speak on the matter right now because of recent events. But so it's just been like crazy, but things are going great. Like honestly, I'm not concerned at all. I actually have, in my opinion, a very good position, and life's really good right now. So as much as I can speak on the exact matter, I started a company, it did well, and now I'm working at a tech company, at least for now, and things are going good.
And what's that other thing you do on the side?
What's the other thing I do on the side?
Like right now?
I do TikTok.
Okay.
I mean, I do. Wait, I'm sorry. So the question was, I do TikTok. I also create apps. I have another company I'm dropping very soon, a new app. The next thing I create is going to be like my best creation ever. I'm so excited to release this product. It's going to cause a lot of controversy, but it's such. I am just so excited. And I can't believe it doesn't exist yet, but I can in a sense. So this next app I'm dropping, I'm just like super excited for it.
Especially in the consumer world, like controversial sells. So
I mean, I'm not trying to be controversial, but like I guess I just find like this is not even like, if you call Uber controversial, it's like similar to that. It's like the people versus the government in a sense, or the people versus the state. Because a lot of times Uber had to like petition local government to allow their cars. Something similar kind of conundrum that I'm coming across right now.
Super cool. And you don't have to talk too much about it. It's obviously like in stealth, but any timeline on that?
I can tell you about it. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I have a prototype ready. So I built an app that how everywhere, all over the states, all of the cities, you can do pay by phone, right?
What do you mean by that, pay by phone?
I'm so like a space cadet today. I've been nonstop having conversations. I'm sorry. You can pay for parking with your phone now. You don't have to actually like go to the meter or anything. I've just been like all over today.
No, you're good.
So I'm building an app that uses the camera, and it's going to actually be a standalone camera when it's finished. Imagine like a standalone, like a dashboard camera. It has 3 cameras that point, straight ahead, and 2 point to the side. You put it on the front of your car and the back of your car, 2 of these devices. And what happens is it looks for people of a particular type, parking police. And when it finds them, it pays for your parking right away. Otherwise, you don't pay. So essentially you put this device here and you only pay parking if someone shows up. And
That's
the way
genius.
the way it's super smart is that they actually collaborate with each other. So if one sees it, then that whole entire row will pay for parking of all those cars. And the idea is that we can ensure that no one will ever get a parking ticket again. So for $20 a month or $10 a month, you'll never get a parking ticket again. And if you follow our steps correctly, like any kind of insurance plan, if you follow the plan, if you get a parking ticket, we'll cover it. And the idea is that the group paying into this will be still less than not paying into it if you're an individual, but then overall we'll make money from the lack of tickets overall. Essentially, the government will be losing money.
That's super smart. Yeah, I mean that's a sick idea. And have you already built? So that's a little bit of like software and hardware play. So you built out a camera already?
So I've built out the app for the iPhone, and obviously no one's going to leave their iPhone in their car just like looking out. So that was my prototype. I've been running it for months. It's hilarious to see these like parking police come by and they're like, put the number in, like he has like 15 minutes left on the time because it buys the smallest amount. They walk away, they come back, and like while they're putting the thing in, they check it pays for parking right there. And they're like, what the fuck's going on?
But can the parking police like can they fool it by like dressing in costumes, or obviously not going to do that?
I mean, I guess they probably could, but no one knows at this point. Also it takes into account behaviors too. So standing in front of the car with a device actually is the biggest indicator. So you'd have to hide the device. You'd have to be like off to the side. It'd be a hard ordeal. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I was actually really excited to have you on here because I feel like you're doing everything. I feel like you're kind of like leading the example with like entrepreneurship and how people should kind of live in a way. I mean, like finding like passions and finding what skills you're good at, and then just doing a bunch of stuff around that, building a brand around you and leveraging like the channels right now. And then when you have that platform, you can do whatever you want and you can keep being creative and like, make money from that and, live on your own time. So I wanted to talk to you for a while because I saw you kind of, I mean, I'm sure you were doing this stuff before, but I feel like during COVID, you especially like took off and you've been leaning into this. I've been following you across social media, all the apps you've been dropping, all the products you've been working on. It's super cool.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I just started when COVID happened. So it wasn't like I was doing a little bit of stand-up comedy before this, just like off to the side. And then when COVID happened, let me apply my form of humor with technology. And I think there's a market here. And there's a massive market. And my telling, and I get somewhat of a character that I play, but it's not always a character. I call it a character, but it is actually me in a sense. It's, people like to see people who overcome adversity. A lot of people go through various challenges in life, and how I use my thoughts, my technology, my background to win. A lot of people like that. So they kind of like vicariously, like they feel that winning through meaningful storytelling.
It's kind of like, it's like a TV show, kind of like watching like MacGyver or, someone skiing.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes that is the case. I mean, what happens is a lot of times we find ourselves in life where we're given a certain scenario and we have to overcome it. And the initial solutions aren't the best. And having seen many scenarios, having studied like psychology and social engineering and all these various issues, using these kind of fundamental like skill sets with the social engineering and psychology, you can really have a completely alternative route to solving problems that will give you a much larger edge. And people love to see that play out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And how did you, even going back, how did you even get the courage, I guess, to even put yourself out there? Have you always been like, I don't give a shit, I'm gonna like promote myself?
No, it was more like at some point, I think I turned like 28 and I'm like, damn, like I was ending my company at the time. And I was just like, I was exiting it. I was leaving the whole thing, and it was a minor win. It wasn't a major win. And I'm like, shit, what do I do now? And I'm like, imagine if I get old and I don't do this social media thing that I've always wanted to do. I feel like I'd be good at it. Everyone tells me I'd be good at it. And it was one of those things like, if I'm 90 years old and I don't do it, like, who cares like what that small group of like cool kids in high school think when they see me on social media? Like, they're like, oh, shit. All right. And I started doing it, and I got a lot of, it's kind of fascinating. When you first start creating content, it's like the first 100,000 followers, people talk shit to you and you read it and it hurts a little bit. You're like, damn, I didn't know I know I'm missing hair on my eyebrows, but I didn't know everyone saw it. Like, God damn. Like, or like my hairline isn't perfectly straight. Like you hear everything. And then what happens is like at some point it just becomes white noise. And right now, like if I get a bad comment, I actually try to be nice in return. And it really confuses people if I respond at all. I think I got a comment recently. I just looking through my thing, and then you get a bunch of comments, you see whatever, and someone wrote like it was about the viral video by Barstool that Barstool reshared about the girl on the pool table.
One. That was great, by the way.
And someone like this is why like you're undesirable, blah 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 blah. And then I'm like, and I just responded, "Are you desirable?" And it's just like, I'm not being rude, and like now she has to like say like, yeah, because I do X, Y, and Z. And I'm not going to respond to that. And then like other kids will just rip into her, and I don't want that to happen, but it's like an awkward thing where like you have to now prove yourself. Like don't come at if you come at a troll with like a hey like F you F this, like that's the game they want you to play. Just open it up to like, okay, so what do you do?
Let the crowd. So it's kind of, so I mean, so many things to talk about here. I've been like talking to a lot of friends about this. Like inherently, if you're you're a content creator or a leader, you're kind of like separate from the pack. And so it's human nature not to want to be in that position. It's like the whole adage around like people are afraid of public speaking. They'd rather be like, you know, in the casket, stupid, than like reading the whatever obituary, whatever it's called. And so it's the same thing with content. You put yourself out there. Most social media platforms, it's like the 1% actually create, 99% consume. And initially it is nerve wracking. We're supposed to not want to be like, you know, on a stage, right? But then once you're on that stage, you're essentially becoming like a leader and you create that community. And then like, you're going to numbers game. You're gonna have like a couple idiots in the crowd and trolls. But then eventually, as you start growing your brand and you feel more confident, then you can leverage the size of that crowd against that troll, right? If you want to.
If you want to, but it's not even that like you're right. But like I create content off my trolls. It's amazing. It's like it fits my brand perfectly. It's an amazing psychological phenomenon. Like I have a video that I haven't released yet, and this one's, I'm telling you right now, you're hearing it first. This one's going to go hyper viral. I know when I'm making viral content. I know the ones that hit. I know the
how do you know that? How do you? I was going to say like
the storyline of all my viral videos are exactly the same. It's a very relatable, terrible situation that everyone's been through. And then I overcome it in a very ironic, hilarious way. And then people feel the dopamine rush of like, wow, I could have done that. Or that's me in the same scenario I once experienced.
It's relatable, but like it's a little aspirational.
Yeah. So like, here's an example. Here's the video, and I haven't even dropped it yet, and it's going to go crazy viral. Okay. A bunch of kids were trolling me. I keep seeing the same names on my comments. You know, I got many comments, thousands of them, but the same goddamn names. I keep seeing them in my little feed. Like they just know when they comment, and I happen to see it. And these kids, man, they're saying like, "Oh, your eyes are missing hair." So I made a separate account. I've done this before. This is my strategy. I made a separate account. And I joined in on the mocking of me. Okay, so I'm like, "Oh, Ethan, like, you're, you know, I agree with you. I agree with this kid. Like, I created a separate account, and I liked the troll's comment, and I pretended to be his friend, and I messaged him. And I've done this before. And I was like, yeah, man, like you play Roblox? That's the game all the kids are playing now. I was like, yeah, man. They play this game called East Brickton Roblox. And it's like this GTA style game, but it's like for kids or whatever. So I started playing with these kids as this character. I asked them, like, hey, man, like, do you want to play? They think I'm some just like random person on the internet. And I started playing with these kids, and I got deep into their organization. They play this game. It's like a real thing. They buy a house in the simulated world. All these kids play together. So I got me and a bunch of my friends to like join and kind of like infest like the gang that they have. And then they had like this cookout, and we shot up the whole place and took everything. And then I'm like, yeah, it's actually Ethan Keiser from TikTok. And the video is hilarious. Like the kids like screaming, like it's just so funny. So yeah, I did this very like methodical track down of this troll to the game that he plays in his place. And I trolled him back, and people love that storyline.
No, it's funny, and like you're like outsmarting them, you know. It's like exactly, Wile E. Coyote or whatever.
It's the whole brand is like, you know, when you have adversity, like how do you use your brain to, or I mean, it's what I say, but like how do you outsmart your competition? How do you overcome adversity with very, very like well thought out methodical approaches, and
never like you have to kind of say this these days, but never in like extreme cyberbullying way, you know, never in like always done like craftfully of like, outsmarting them, but never, like using the axe,
Yeah, you don't put someone at risk. Like I would never dox anyone. I would never
Yeah.
do anything like that. I mean, my entire story for how I even started on TikTok was
Mhm.
that storyline of like an ex-girlfriend who slept with my best friend. And instead of me just like rolling over and doing nothing, and instead of me like slashing tires and being angry, I gave it a little bit of time. I thought about it, and then I created like a fake news website called Local One,
Yeah.
and I just took a real news website, copied it over, changed the logo a little bit, and then ran this article of me winning the lottery. And I screenshot it and I put it on my Instagram. And then I put a link to the actual article. And it looked like a real news website. The ads worked. Then I went on TikTok and I had no followers. I'm like,
Mhm.
guys, go blow up this post on my Instagram. My ex-girlfriend slept with my best friend. Like,
Mhm.
let's blow this up and make it look like it's real. And let's see what happens. And these kids, everyone joined in. Everyone came to my Instagram. They blew up this post. They liked it. My ex-girlfriend saw it. And yeah, I never like said her name or anything, but she reached out to me saying she missed me and she was so sorry.
Was
And
that part was true? The ex-girlfriend part?
yeah, this is all true.
Okay.
This is
No, I
oh,
remember. I remember when you did it, but I wasn't sure if like the lottery. Obviously, that was like a setup, but I didn't know if the girlfriend part was a setup too.
no, the girlfriend part was all true. This the setup was the lottery part. Yeah.
So it's kind of like with prank shows, and like I have a couple of friends who are like in that prank world, and like her comedians. Actually, want to ask in a second about your comedy, like background, whatever. But it's a lot. There's a little bit of a structure as well with props, where you have like part of the group is set up, and then the other part you want that authentic reaction. If everything is staged, it won't work, right? You
I
need, like,
actually completely hate the whole prank scene. I don't consider myself anything near that at all.
okay,
Like
sure.
I think the pranking world is it's dead. I don't even touch it. I don't think what I'm doing is pranking actually. I take real scenarios that I come across and I play them out in a way so that I can tell a story.
Mhm.
Very rare. I might magnify some pieces of it to add to the
Sure.
storytelling.
Yeah.
But the core functionality, the core objective, all my stuff has an objective at the end. It isn't like, let's see the reaction. Okay, we got a reaction. And then like, what now? Like, oh, that was it. And like, okay, like that's been played out so many times, right? Mine's all
Mhm.
about like, there is something I get at the end of it. Like there's always something I get, whether I'm getting into a club for free because I'm using my fake live app,
Yeah.
or I'm, getting some form of revenge of exposing someone who obviously is like not a very good person or whatever. No, I'm not going to put their name out there, or I'm not going to, make someone lose their job or anything because they let
Yeah.
me into a club. But there's always a goal at the end of a storyline that like I
Yeah.
get something at the end of it. Not a
No,
prank.
yeah, I love it, and like you nailed it, and it's like authentically you, and people love it, and it does go viral pretty frequently. So I think I mean, you're on it. You're not like you're on to something. You're already in, already doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, did you expect to be in this position, 4 years ago or 2 years ago?
I mean, I started this like a year and a half ago, and
Okay.
I would say yes and no. I didn't expect my TikTok to be as viral, as big as it is. I probably thought my YouTube would be bigger actually because
Mhm.
I was investing lots of time into it. I then realized quickly that my organic reach on YouTube is just so low, whereas compared to my TikTok, and I was making like 8 hours of editing and shooting footage to make a video,
Yeah.
so like a lot of time, and it just wasn't giving me any return. And I saw the opportunity to put YouTube on hold, do TikTok, get an audience there, and then port them over, and then
Yeah.
come up with ways of creating consistent content on YouTube that doesn't take 8 hours, whether it's
Yeah.
like not podcasts, but like conversational stuff, like things you can
Sure.
just shoot and get 15 minutes of footage or
Yeah.
10 to
Yeah.
15 minutes of footage without, a ton of work. Yeah. That's like the sweet spot.
Yeah, because I mean, even like, I'm just doing this pod, whatever, but I've done a mix of influencer marketing, I'm kind of, pretty tied up in that world, creator economy, all that stuff. But one thing that people don't realize is like creating content does take a lot of time, or can take a lot of time. So like, are you pretty efficient with that? Because I do think like, and like it becomes, I mean, you're on the end of where you have a massive following, it becomes a little demanding where like you have to keep producing more and more to keep, your fans happy. And then like, once you like take a break, they get angry, or not angry, but there's like, it's a little bit of a treadmill. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Or what are your thoughts on that? That's
Yeah. It's not really like that with me, unfortunately. Like I don't feel that way. Like I
okay.
have I feel like I have to create content, but TikTok isn't like a consistency thing. It's like,
Sure.
give us your best stuff. Like the
Yeah.
content is what we want. The best quality is what we show.
Mhm.
And so I spend more time living my life, finding these scenarios and then playing them out, whether, not everything I do is like some form of like a big brain like scenario that I play out, but
Mhm.
I do other things. I find irony in life and I talk about it, whatever. I don't necessarily feel like I have a schedule for TikTok. I don't feel like
Yeah.
I'm obligated to anything. I've learned that if you create really good content, they go viral and you'll get 50 to 100,000 followers, then consistently posting mediocre stuff. So it's like,
Mhm.
go for big. And if you could save your time and you could
Yeah.
relax and
Yeah.
not post anything and then do another big one, that's way better than
Interesting.
consistently running yourself down. For
Yeah.
TikTok, it is. For YouTube, it's way
Yeah.
different. YouTube looks for consistency. They want to have you
Okay.
constantly
It depends
posting.
on the platform.
It definitely depends on the platform. Yes.
And it's cool. I mean, this window with TikTok is crazy. I mean, it's like, I don't think Instagram, or obviously in the early days, it was easier to get bigger and grow a following, but just, I think based on TikTok's nature of like the, algorithm and, the fact that it's all discovery based, I think it's just like a really interesting way to grow online. And it's very merit based, right? You're not like, I've heard like, Evan Spiegel from Snapchat talking about TikTok in the early days about how Instagram was like focused on status and how Instagram or TikTok is focused on talent, and how inherently people value talent over status more. And so that's why, TikTok videos tend to be more engaging and interesting. Some like, consumer theory, but interesting though, because it is true. You could be like a kid in the Philippines, or wherever, some random, in some foreign country, produce, piece of content that's really done really well in a really creative and smart way. And you could have massive reach and not need a studio and not be in Hollywood and, all that stuff.
Yeah, I would agree. And I also think what's really fascinating about this is you just mentioned Snapchat, and I actually just started using Twitter. Like I don't really do Twitter, and like I have like now I was going
Yeah.
viral on Twitter too, and I realized like if you're at Twitter, if you're head of product at Twitter, I don't know who the head of product is, like you should have made TikTok. I mean, the door was wide. Twitter is TikTok in a sense, just designed slightly different with the video first mindset. Twitter should have been TikTok. From every single like the structure is TikTok, like with the categories and how things are broken down and how
Yeah.
you get recommended things because of that. That's fascinating to me. I don't use Twitter. I now see why a lot of people like it. I'm just now getting into it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, consumer social kind of sucks, having done a lot of consumer social startups, but also it's interesting and it's rewarding. It's rewarding because you're affecting people, but also it's more sophisticated, intellectual than people think. There's a lot of science that goes into these things, and like obviously people know social network and all that, and there's like classes about the endless scroll and engineering for addiction and dopamine. But there's a lot of, once you get that first viral growth and you get like early users, and you keep sustaining that, like these product teams have a lot of insight, especially Facebook's like the best at this. They have, they A/B test everything and they're like so smart at it. But I bring that up because I think I could be wrong here, but I think Twitter though kind of had a little bit of a recovery. I think Trump helped them. And then I think they started investing back into Twitter. And I think they actually leveraged, I could be wrong because I stopped using Twitter for a while. And I only times I heard people using Twitter in the past 4 years was either for like dumb memes, but like not as, it was more on Instagram, Donald Trump and political stuff. But other than that, it was like in Silicon Valley where I was living, it was all about like tech Twitter and stuff. But then recently in the last 2 years, it's been starting to grow back. And I think, I could be wrong, I think that they maybe looked at TikTok and maybe leveraged the earnings from Trump, and like that gave them more fuel to keep investing back into it. And they realized what they had. And now they're trying to lean into the whole creator economy thing, which they can do very well if they execute that correctly. Like they could kill Substack. I don't know if you know Substack, like they're just a newsletter. They're like a creator economy tool where you can create a newsletter you could be a journalist and you don't have to work for a big media company. You work on, you work on your own, and you could have your own subscribers, like OnlyFans, pay for your content. So it's very decentralized. Twitter could kill that because Twitter has discovery and they have people on there. Whereas Substack, it's relying on you to bring your own followers from other social media platforms. So Twitter could execute very well here, but it is interesting because I do think, I could be wrong, I don't know, I'm analyzing, but I think that they've been reinvesting and like recalibrating, how it's set up.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think Twitter should definitely do that. I just got on it really, and it's fun. I think it's really good for media too, as if you want to like get in contact with journalists, etc. Like Twitter is the place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, I feel like you have had a lot of really cool skits, or I don't know what you call them.
I don't know what I call them either. I wouldn't call them skits though. I don't really do any skits, but
not skits,
yeah, videos. I don't know what to call them. Yeah.
Do you have any big plans for what's next? Like, do you want to do some different platforms? I mean, you said you're working on an app right now.
Very, very big plans for what I'm doing next. I mean, my whole thing is from the very beginning, I'm doing social media to find my next company. And that's why I'm doing this, right?
Interesting.
And I don't know if Park Guards, which is my next product launch. I mean, I think it's gonna rock. I know it's gonna go viral. But when
it'll go viral. What's it called?
Park Guards.
Park Guards. Okay. It's kind of like I was gonna say this earlier. It's kind of like the actually a lot of people in Florida have this. It's semi-illegal. There's like a little
radar. Yep. Radar is illegal. But guess what? Or it's illegal in New York. I don't know if it's illegal in Florida, but this is a camera, and you're gonna.
No. I'm not saying this. Yeah, I'm not saying that this would be. I'm just saying like it's the analogy is that when I thought of that, and a lot of people have them, and it works, and it's useful and it saves people money. I think if you I've been talking to a lot of consumer founders who are successful, and the biggest thing is like you need to solve a need, and it basically needs to be about like some gain, in some way for users, and usually it's money. And if you can do that, people will use it. Like
that's the whole thing right there. It's that I can show like for the first month using this, I've saved hundreds of dollars from parking in the city. And I have the app is laid out, so it shows you like how much you're saving since you've used this product. Like it's all in your face. Like we designed it this way. I say we, it's just me. So I designed it this way. I usually say we because that's what entrepreneurs do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean, you want to sound like you have a big team, right?
Yeah, it's so stupid. I used to play that game. I remember.
Like I mean, I do that with some things too. Everyone, like make fake email accounts. Like my assistant Ashley, will walk you through this. Or
I never did that. That's crazy.
I have a friend who he has like. It's funny. He's like an artist, like trying to be like, he's a rising DJ, and he made an email for his manager, and his manager's name is M, and it just means manager, but it's really him. So like, I'll let M take it from here, and it's just him like messaging and making it more credible.
Yeah, you have to be careful with that stuff. I mean, I know one time particularly a TikToker did something like that to me. That was wanted to collab with me, and I sniffed it out right away. I'm like, this guy's so full of shit.
Really?
I never. Yeah, I don't. If I catch that, that's just weird to me. Like, dude, what are you putting on a show for me? But I get it. Like, everyone tries to do it. I used to do that shit a lot. Like when I first started my first company. Now I realize how little anyone cares really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've been noticing this as well. Like, there's a lot of Gen Z consumer startups that are. I don't know if this is a trend or viral like blip, but they're going viral on TikTok and getting a lot of users for cheap. And they're going like very viral, and they're like starting with the account. I mean, kind of what you're doing, but these are like inexperienced younger people. Not to say that you can't be young and experienced, but I've seen a lot of examples of these apps going viral on TikTok and then like rising the charts, which is like kind of unheard of, beforehand. Like you'd have to pay for that or do a lot of ads, PR, etc. Some viral loop built into the app, but these apps are just growing off of TikTok. I don't know.
I mean, I have over 100,000 users on Parallel Live, which is the exact same scenario. I mean, I was number 13 in education. My app was ranked in education.
That's crazy.
And I was number 13 for the longest time. And that's like, it's actually the whole story for how I got Parallel Live, which is my fake live simulator into the app store. When they rejected it 7 times.
And can you explain the app for people who don't know what it is?
So I thought it was hilarious in Miami how much people care about clout. So I made an app that makes you look like you're live streaming on Instagram with tens of thousands of people watching you and fake comments rolling up. And depending on where you place your thumb, the comments will start saying different things. Like if I'm with people, I'm like, guys, am I the best looking person here? And I put my thumb in this little like, secret area. Then all the comments saying, yes, Ethan, totally agree with you. Da, 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 da. And like, everyone's like freaking out. Like, dude, you have so many viewers. And like, I got in the clubs. People went crazy. Everyone was like, oh my God, who is this guy? But now I have a following. So now I don't have to lie anymore. I used to be like, oh, don't look me up. I'm being private. But now I'm like, oh, get my TikTok. And then there's a million. So I can get away with it now, but for the longest time I couldn't. But yeah, so that app, I used to say like, I would shoot these videos of me going into places using my app. What they didn't know is they're watching a commercial. They're watching a commercial for my product. If you want to feel fame, if you want to experience what this is like, download my app. It's $10 for the premium features. And
so in a way, they're obviously a little bit different, but like you said, every video has a reason or an outcome. Like those videos were growing you, like your followers.
Oh yeah, it was a commercial, but I also was getting into places. Like I was actually like not just I was doing something with it. And yeah, I mean, I think this whole like idea of like using TikTok to grow consumer-based products is like a very smart idea. I did it. It works really well. I have another app dropping, the Park Guard, that's gonna go viral. I think it's gonna, I'm gonna do a Kickstarter. I think it's gonna just like run my Kickstarter up.
It's kind of like also has like the Waze qualities of like, you know, the different cameras like working together and like building a community around. That's cool. And you could even have like, you know, like sharing how much other people have made, right? And like, you know, how much other people have saved. I mean, we'll do all of that. I mean, we're putting together a campaign for it. And I also have like friends now. Once you get to a certain level, I'm friends with guys who, I mean, I would consider like real friends. And these guys have like 10 million followers. You've seen him, right? He's cool. What's his name? Sorry.
It's like Dylan. I don't know his last name. He does like the Cold Stone ice cream. He always flips the ice cream up. I mean, he's like very popular. He's like 10 million or something.
Okay.
Good guy. I mean, I never really met the dude, but we chat a lot. I can just tell he's a good person, right? Like people like that you meet and like eventually you drop a product, they think it's really cool.
I mean,
help you out. And like
it really is a community. I've been talking about that as well recently, that like the more people you meet, I like, you know, moved to New York and I love that environment here, you know, just like, but just in general, like it's not a zero-sum game. You meet people who are like ambitious, creative, doing things. There's always ways to collaborate and to win together. And like, hey, like, you know, Ethan, check this out, like whatever, like you want to get in or help out or like, look what I'm doing. And actually people like feed off that energy. It's actually not like a negative thing. So that's super cool. Obviously there's like some people who are like, you know, kind of suck, but for the most part, it's all about like the successful people know each other. There's a reason for that. It's like groups and like people help each other out in different ways.
I had one scenario where it didn't work out, but other than that, like most of my collabs have been super good. I mean, I don't really do collabs like that, but like I've really not done a collab, to be honest with you. But like I think I will do more in the future. I don't do any brand deals. I don't want brand money.
I was gonna ask you that. So you haven't done any branding, no paid partnerships, nothing like that?
I reach out all the time, but I always say no because the couple $100 is nothing to me. It's doesn't move the needle for me at all. And I just don't care to, you know, risk my creativity and my storytelling for a product placement that doesn't make any sense. If the product makes sense, then yes. Like if someone came to me with Parallel Live, my fake live app, and they already invented it. Well, actually, that's a whole other thing. But regardless, if someone came to me individually and had the app working, I would possibly then use it and promote it and get paid for that because it fits my content.
Sure.
But 99% of the time, I don't accept any brand stuff because the money means nothing to me.
What if it was like Alpha Brain? You know, you could
brand. I work out. If Ethan will give you $50,000 to do a video or a few videos, we can do that. We can do that. I think I do that. I mean, I can be bought. Don't get me wrong, I can be bought. But
everyone has a number.
But like a couple $100 for like a stupid video, it's not gonna
happen. That's cool. And like just curious on that. Like, do you get paid? Like, I know TikTok pays a lot of creators. Is that decent? Like every, you know, platform has a different way to compensate creators. You know, Spotify.
Creator fund.
Yeah, is that like, is it a good amount of money that someone could live off of, or not really?
Oh, no. You couldn't live off this money, but is it like good money for like making videos I enjoy making? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm supposed to say how much, but like, it's not like you can't live off of it.
Okay.
Or I'd advise against it.
Awesome. Well, I'm trying to think other things to mention. I mean, I guess like, do you have any advice? And another thing that I feel like is important is you kind of done a lot of things, and it's all like generational maybe, or, earlier, the big dream was kind of, start the next Facebook VC backed company. That's still very much a goal for a lot of people, and it's still great. But I think now there's like a new wave of bootstrapping, being a creator, being creative. And I feel like you've done a little bit of both. Like you've gone through that cycle. And it sounds like you're a little disillusioned, and obviously you learned a lot, but you realized like there was more to do, and you wanted to tap in your like comedic side, your creative side. And you found a way to not only be creative, but to support yourself and build a brand and continue doing products as well. So I feel like in a way you follow that trajectory, and everything worked, pretty well.
Yeah, I honestly, like, to be honest with you, this is super easy for me. Like this, I can look at certain pages and creators and be like, this is not the right thing for them. Like they just don't have it. They don't have that magic spell. Like whatever it is that makes a creator pop, some people don't have it. And I don't sound like a narcissist, but like I know I have it because I've seen it. Like I've seen the moments where like I go through life, I see a scenario, I'm like, oh, that's viral right there. Like I'm gonna either play this out, or I'm going to like fear the situation, or I'm going to recreate it in some scenario. Very rarely is it like a skit or anything, but like I'm gonna drop a video tonight actually, and it's gonna go crazy viral. I'm gonna tell it to you right now, okay? And a lot of times my concepts come from me seeing someone else do something that isn't necessarily how I would have handled it.
Yeah, it's close.
They're in a different situation. Something happens, and then they handle it. I always favorite the videos. And then I go and I say, okay, let me play out that scene slightly differently and like talk through it or whatever and make a video around it. And that one goes viral, right? So I just know what my audience likes. I know I have a very unique skill set, being technical, knowing AI and how to build tooling around it. And then the final piece is like, when I meet people who can't do anything other than duplicate other people's work straight up, or like they can only do the dances, like, yeah, the dances work for like a very lucky genetic people like who have like great genes and they look great and they can do the dance. For most people, no one cares. For most people, no one gets to know you as a person, so no one cares. Still. So
100%, I have a theory that also like I would say this a lot, like consumer theories are stupid. Who knows like where society's going and whatever, and no one really knows, just guessing. But theory is that I've read a little bit of stuff that inspired this, that we're becoming more and more digital as people and like putting our identities online. And Gen Z is more comfortable with this because they've been growing up alongside technology. And an example of this is like cancel culture, in a way, like, people are obviously shouldn't be saying bad things, but people aren't perfect, and you have thoughts, or you say stupid jokes, or you make mistakes. And cancel culture is an example of like this transition period where we're putting our digital selves online. It started with like a little bit of data, then it became more of ourselves, then it became our work, and then it became the polished version of it to start with, because you want to be very careful what you put online, right? It lives forever. But eventually, like, we're going to put all of ourselves online, the good, the bad, the ugly, and people aren't going to care anymore, because it's actually more efficient to have yourself online, all your ideas. It helps like society move forward if you can share the complete picture, not just like the polished piece that maybe it leaves out one bullet point that's maybe a little bit controversial, but actually could be really insightful and lead to something. And so I think we're kind of going through that period, and Gen Z is very comfortable with it. They're kind of leading the way. And, you yourself, the reason why authenticity is so valued is because people actually do like that. People actually do respect that. And you reach a larger audience, putting yourself, the full you, online. And over time, that will become everybody. So I don't know, just a theory, but I've like kind of makes sense. And it just explains how we're kind of going through this awkward teenage phase of being like, okay, like we're all human. Like, don't like, we are
being vulnerable is cool.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like how we are. It's like, if you're going to upload, you're going to do a data set, for, some project, and you're polishing the data because there's like a segment of the data that you don't like, doesn't support the thesis that you're trying to prove, or makes something look bad, and you don't share the full complete data set, it's flawed. You actually want to share everything, right? but even as like controversial or as strange as it may be, or as it doesn't support like what you're trying to do, but eventually like, complete information is better than partial. So I do think we're going through this right now, and it's cool to see people like you kind of leading the way, and back to you, like you're showing your authentic self and you're creating your own, like you're not following a template. And I think people do appreciate that. And it's like your unique value.
I would say the only downside to all this is that like people that like learn about you and get to know you through your content sometimes think you're like a psychopath. That's the only other like downside, right? Like
sometimes they think you're a psychopath.
Yeah, no, not like I'm a psychopath. They're like, oh, like I saw your videos. Like they think that's like me as a person. Like I think I do play a character in a sense. Like it's not straight up acting, but I play into things to make it more interesting. Sure. Like I get compared to from what's this show called? That's So Sunny or Sunny in Philadelphia, and I'm always compared to that.
No, I never really watched that show that much, but like
I forget his name as well, but like. I can compare this the character that's like has like a minor in psychology. That's like his thing. I have a minor in psychology. I don't know. But like he's like apparently like a psychopath or whatever. And like he's methodical or whatever. But that's like his character. It's funny. It's comedy. I'm similar to that. I take from that. I also take a lot from what's that other? I can't remember anyone's name now. There's another HBO show. This guy is like.
What's it about?
It's like this guy and. He's like famous for like how Best Buy says like if you he has many different like shows, and one of it's like Best Buy had this thing where like if you find a cheaper TV, we'll match the price.
Yes,
so
I actually Nathan for you.
Nathan.
Yeah. He's actually really funny. Yeah.
Nathan for you meets like this other like more charismatic like psychopath type, and I'm like somewhere in the middle there, and it's my character that I play into. Is it me? Yeah, some pieces of it is me, but not to that extreme. Like when I talk about like in some of my videos how like to know if your ex-girlfriend's cheating on you by using her router to see if the device is currently in her house when she says she's going out or she's staying in, or if someone else's phone is there, whatever. Like I've never actually done these things. Like a lot of these times I don't actually do the things that I say you could do. But it's just for the jokes of it, of course.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess you just hope though that like, some people's minds you can't change, and you feel content with who you are, how you're presenting yourself. And there's always going to be people who don't interpret in the right way out of, whatever reason.
It's actually even interesting, like from like a dating perspective. Like I never put my social media on my dating profiles or whatever. I actually hardly use dating apps now, but like, I guess I used to think like, oh, if you have a big following, like, would that help in some sense? And actually the answer is yes and no, depending on what you're looking for. And for me personally, like, I don't think it's ever really given me a long-term positive effect. So I always keep my social platforms real quiet. Try to be like a bit offline when it comes to
like we want to chase clout. We all do, we all want to, be but we don't want people who only like us for the clout, who chase our, it's like, we don't like clout chasers in a way. Like you want, like it's almost a double-edged sword. You get famous, or you get powerful, and then people then appreciate that side of you, but not the full picture in a way.
I agree completely. Yes, and you have to be careful with that. You also have to be careful with like you might meet someone, you like them a lot, and they're like, I saw this video of you of like your ex-girlfriend and how she like cheated on you and you did this crazy thing. Like, are you gonna do it to me? I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. That was a very extreme scenario, and I never exposed her identity or anything. And don't cheat on me, whatever. Like, I mean, you'll be okay. So I don't know, like whatever. Yeah,
that's funny. Awesome, man. Well, Ethan, it's been great having you on here. Definitely want to keep in touch more. And I just any like advice, any last parting words for the audience, that you want to share
in regards to what?
Just anything, like, I don't know, like, career advice,
life advice,
being a creator, just life advice, anything, or any funny story that you have that you want to share.
Well, right now I'm in the middle of like this crazy debacle right now. It's absolutely crazy.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
I really can't at this point. I can't go into detail, but like the high level is that Rolling Stones wrote a hit piece on me, labeling me this terrible thing, and they took videos out of context. I have all the source material, and I just recently got off the phone with some like top companies like Facebook, and I was talking to the recruiters there, et cetera, because like they called my work, and this lady, she's like, oh, Ethan Keiser, baby face, moderately balding, and her husband doesn't have hair to the 80-yard line with no defense. Like, I don't know who she thinks she's like talking to, but this girl, crazy leftist, like woke, came at me. So took all my videos out of context and were like, he's encouraging the harassment of women. Get out of here. I've never even spoke about women, not once. I was simply making videos on why you shouldn't post your money on the internet as a 1099 employee. You get all. And they were looking for a story. So I just got off the phone with like some people at Facebook, and they were like, we don't give a fuck about the Rolling Stones. We don't care what that article says. Like, if you want to come to Facebook, come to Facebook. Like, so there's no, like, I was worried at one point, like, damn, is my comedy and my content going to ruin my career aspirations?
Interesting.
I think at a certain level it could, like the higher levels you go. More correct. But at least at like in the mid-level management stuff, and these are, very hard to get roles, but they don't care. They don't give a shit. It's hard to find talent.
And back to my, like what I was saying before, it is kind of sad because people don't fully express themselves out of fear of things like that, right? Like, how many times have you heard, or you've done this yourself, we've all done it, about to apply to college, I gotta scrub my Facebook, or I'm about to apply to a job, I gotta check my Twitter feed.
Version of me.
And it's a little, it kind of sucks a little bit, because you can't, obviously you don't be doing bad things, and you want to be, smart and learning as you get older, but also just, it makes you just paranoid and afraid of like expressing yourself. And the fact that you have to think about that is kind of sucks. But I mean, are you still like, obviously you're still, in working big companies, but eventually do you want to build like your own media company? Like, what's like for the next product? Like, what's like the big vision? What's like the end goal?
The big vision is I'm going to launch Park Guards. It's going to go to the moon. And then I'm either going to keep running that, or I'm going to work at a large tech company. I'm currently working at a large tech company for now. And that's a whole ordeal right now. It's a mess right now. I can't go into details, but it's a mess. I don't see how it doesn't work out in my favor though, this situation. I just don't see it not working out in my favor. So one thing about having clout, and I really can't get into it, but I want to so badly, is that in many negotiation scenarios, it really helps because you control a lot of public perception. And if you are in the right and someone's trying to take advantage of you, you just have to tell your story. If you're in the wrong, then you're in the wrong and it won't make a difference. But if you are truly in the right and someone is trying to take advantage of you and you have a large platform, you have way more leverage than someone who does not. So I don't need to get, I am going on TV next week, and I have all this media set up because I have a lot of contacts in media. TV? Oh, I'm going on international TV with 80 million home viewers.
Wow. Okay.
And I can leverage all of this I have to negotiate in any situation. I'm not talking about any particular one right now, but any situation that could be in. And it just gives you way more leverage. And not to even speak on the fact that I was going viral on TikTok, Reddit, and Twitter this week. So like, if you're in a negotiation,
and was that random when you went viral with that? Because that was old content, I think, right?
It was like a week old content, or 2 weeks old, 3 weeks old. But people just pick it up and they keep running with it. And so messaging me, hey, I saw this. So the point is, this whole thing is that if you find yourself in a shitty situation in life, you need to have leverage to figure out how you can improve your outcome, right? The more leverage you have, the more resources you have, the better off you be. That's why rich people end up always on the plus side of bad situations, because they have the resources. So getting money is very important, but if you get clout, that's also very valuable too. So my advice to the young people is like, if you want to create an audience, get a following, you want to make some money on TikTok or whatever, that's great. But the power that comes with being able to influence is really unmeasurable, and you don't realize this until you get there.
Very well said. Awesome. Well, Ethan, appreciate it.
I was kind of impressed after I said that too. I'm like, damn, that's pretty good. I never thought about that one. It's a shit.
Awesome, dude. Well, yeah, let's definitely stay in touch more. Sure. And yeah, actually might be in Miami in a couple of weeks. So
Yeah, let's hang out.
If you want to meet up or something. All right, cool, man. Have a good weekend, and appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely. See you, man.
See ya.